Dragon Rampant. We are going to be playing through the first scenario in the rulebook. Again, the gory bloodbath on the Plains of Doom. I know what you're thinking. Didn't you already play this once? Yes, that was the first scenario we ever played, and it was plagued with all of the inaccuracies and wrongheadedness that we get when we play a war game for the first time. We do not accept that. We tend to shrug our shoulders and, well, okay, that didn't work out so hot. We'll get them next time. Well, welcome to next time. Let's take a look at our belligerents. It's going to be a straight-up fight between two matched armies. Now, these are only 22 AP armies. I've cobbled together a force out of my, basically my D&D collection. I have one warband. Now, these guys, these pig-faced orcs, these handsome little fellas, come from Splintered Light. And we have a warband in the front with the leader here. This is a bellicose foot. I've got a bellicose foot in the back here. They have a wizard. Well, one of the wizardlings, I should say. He's got 3 spells. He's got Heal, Befuddle, and Blades. And then we've got 2 units of, make sure I get this right, they're both elite foot. There's giants and there's trolls. And I think that's all there is to it. Yeah, I was thinking about making these guys belligerent foot, or bellicose foot, I should say, and then upgrading them with the armor, but for the same price, you can just make them elite foot. So these guys both have 6 strength points, and we'll just use wound markers, and when we remove one of these giants, you know, that'll help us remember that the giants are down to half strength. Over here, we've got the goblins, and my goblins are a nomadic force. They've got intelligent wargs. These are lesser war beasts. We've got light riders with bows. We've got heavy riders with spears. And then we've got elite riders. And this is our king, the elite rider in the center there. And I think, oh, right, the other thing I did in order to make up the difference to get these guys up to 22 points was to give the elite riders and the heavy riders, these 2 units, hate the orcs. So what that means is our heavy riders do get wild charge when they're charging the orcs, and our elite riders will auto-charge with their wild charge. Their wild charge is automatically successful. If these orcs come within charge range of these guys, they're automatically going to charge them on their turn. That could be good. It could be bad. I'm not sure. The next thing we got to do is look at the terrain. This is the Plains of Doom, not the Swamps of Doom or the Mountain Passes of Doom. So mostly open space. We've got some broken ground here. We'll say this broken ground is impassable where the tower is. We'll say this broken ground does block line of sight. And then we've got 2 fields that do not block line of sight, but they are considered broken ground. And this is a little broken forest. And the important one to draw your attention to is this ridge over here. These were originally made for 6mm, but they work pretty good. And what we're going to do is we're going to say that the back side of this is a cliffside that is impassable. And it's rough going whenever you move across this, but you cannot cross that cliffside. I know our vertical exaggeration is compressed somewhat, but it's all right. We'll go with it. The thing we have to do now is establish who's coming on which side. And we're just going to roll for the goblins here. Before I roll, though, I will say I am going to start with no one on the table. In order to come on the table, we're going to nominate a unit, make a move check, and if they move, then they can come on anywhere they want. Or better yet, we'll nominate where we want them to come on, and then we'll roll. So it's going to be on a 1 through 4, the goblins come on here, and on a 5 through 8 over there. We get a 5, so our goblins are going to take the eastern side of the board, and our orcs will start on the west. We're going to bring in the leaders first, but before we do those first activation rolls, we need to roll for our leaders' abilities, don't we? So we got 3d6 for each of the leaders, and the white dice will be for the goblins. The orcs get a 13, and the goblins get a 13. Hey, that makes it easy. Bone Shaker, 1 unit within 12 inches of your leader model. Oh, we're playing 15mm. We cut all distances in half. 1 unit within 6 inches of your leader may automatically pass a shoot activation. Wait, that's Sky Darkener. Bone Shaker may automatically pass an attack activation without needing to roll dice. Does not include wild charge. So 1 unit within 6 inches of the leaders automatically passes attack action. Got to remember that. The other issue we have to deal with is who's going to go first? And once again, the white die will be for the goblins. The orcs are going to get the first activation. And we'll roll for that orcish leader, who has he is bellicose foot. He moves on a 6 up, and they can move 4 inches. He got it. So we'll bring the leader on. Next, we're going to roll for the giants. We're going to try to bring them up here, and then we'll roll for the trolls to here. Our bellicose foot, you can see we've got a field down here. Our bellicose foot are fleet, so they can move through this field without penalty. We're going to bring them up through there. Try to keep everybody on this side of the cliffs. That way everybody takes advantage of the leader's ability, and they're within 9 inches of the wizard, so he can do his thing. So like I said, giants activating on a 5, they get it. The trolls activating on a 5, they get it. And that other bellicose foot activating on a... moving on a 6 up, I should say. So the other bellicose foot, that wizard is saying, go get him, guys. We have to leave that 1.5-inch gap between our units. So a little bit of a lineup for right now, but they'll spread out as they come across. Now we got to do the goblins. We're going to bring our goblin leader in right in the center. Needing a 7 up, he gets an 8, and he does it. So I'm going to put a die right there for our leader. Then we have to look at... We're going to want to secure this with those lesser war beasts. The lesser war beasts activate on a 6 up. Actually, let's bring on the heavy riders next. And we'll bring the heavy riders up on this side. They activate on a 5. They get it. Then the war beasts on a 6. They get it. And then the last one will be the light riders with the bows. We're going to send them around on a sweeping motion that way. And on a 6, they get it. So let me do my measurements and bring them on. And there we have, everybody's moved up. You can see our lesser war beasts and light riders have that 1 extra inch of movement, 6 inches as opposed to 5 for these guys. A little more spread out there. That's all right. Now the orcs are going to go, and I think the orcs really, do they want to bring the wizard in next, or maybe they want to wait a little bit? Let's move our leader up first. He is going to be activating on a movement at 6 up. The orcs are a bit humbled by the number of goblins that are out there, so the goblins are going to move their leader up first. Now, he is elite rider, so he moves on a 7 up, and with a 2, he gets nothing. All right, so the orcs, everybody's kind of standing around. The orcs need a 6 up to move, so the goblins, again, those elite riders, this time they get it. So I'm going to bring him up to here. And we might as well go ahead and bring them all up. And then we're going to move... Who's the easiest to move? The light riders activate on a 5 up. Let's bring them up as well. On a 3, they're done. Okay, so now back to the leader over here. Activating on a 7, we get it. So the bellicose foot are going to move up 4 inches. Do we want to bring on to there? Do we want to go ahead and bring that wizard on? I think so. It looks like the action is developing over here. That bellicose foot for the orcs is going to activate on a 6 up. They get it. So I'm going to use... I'm just going to drop the wizard for now. Yeah, see what he looks like here? He's a shaman. He's got the magic wand, the big tusks, the fancy cloak. And he's going to move up 4 inches. That's going to put him right there. Remember, they are fleet. So this terrain piece is 4 inches. We'll bring them. They got to leave that 1.5 inches, remember. And then, who do we want to bring up next? Let's bring the giants up. These are elite foot. They are going to move up, and our trolls are going to move on a 5 up. So they move up 3 inches. We're going to start with the high percentage first. A 5. Well, we get it on the 6 for the light riders, and they're going to move up 6 inches to somewhere around there. I'll measure it. Same as usual. And then our lesser war beasts, we're going to move up. With a 3, they refuse. That being the case, I might as well go ahead and just measure and move these guys up. If it's only the 1 unit... That makes it easy, doesn't it? So they're going to come swinging wide around here. Wow, I almost nailed it. I must have a really good eye for distances, huh? And yeah, we're cheating up on the terrain piece a little bit. It's all right. This time around, why don't we go ahead and bring the giants up first and the trolls up first? Giants get a 2, nothing happening. So we go, this is why I'm not too worried about, I didn't get to do anything this turn. The goblins moved 1 unit. So what? Everybody has the same problem. I should nominate. Before I roll, lesser war beasts trying to secure this flank. On the 10, they're going to move up a whopping 6 inches, which will put them right here. And they're going to count as in this terrain feature for the moment. Then we're going to bring our light riders over. And on a 12, they're going to move up another 6 inches. We might not want to move them up too much further than that, though. And then we're going to bring up these heavy riders. They get it, and we'll bring these guys up into here. And that may be it for the riders, because they're going to get to the point where their mobility isn't going to do them much good anymore. These boys, and they might want to wait for these heavy riders to catch up, because they've got some serious punch. And then our boss man. So the good news for the Goblins is that they've got plenty of room to fall back, and that may be part of the strategy, is push these guys up against that back, their back line. However, they are going to move their giants first, or they're not. Interesting. These guys are more likely to activate on the 5s, the two big boys, and they're slower, so it's a little bit of a balancing act. They're more likely to activate, but they move slower, so we should be able to keep them together a little bit better. Oh well, should be, and are, turns out 2 different things. We're going to bring the lesser war beasts up here, and we really want these guys stuck in. They do much better there. Looks like they're not going to make it for now, so we'll just bring them up out of the way. Always careful to maintain that 3-inch buffer. That may get to be awkward in a little bit here. Our leader, we're going to move these guys next. On a 5, they get it. 6 inches will bring them to right here, and I think they can start firing their bows too, which would be nice if they could hammer their enemies at a distance. That's their job, right? Then the heavy riders are going to roll a 6, and I think that's good. I think they move up on a 6. Heavy riders on a 5, they move 5 inches. Gotta love it. And then for the leader here on a 7, well, the good news is with a 6, they're definitely going to get it. But we need to move these guys up first. We're going to swing them around this way a little bit more. Oh, that was 6 inches. We only want them to go 5. That's good, because that way we'll have a little bit more space. Remember, we want our leader to be within 6 inches of well, anybody that's within 6 inches of him, that's going to block line of sight. So let's bring him over to here. With all the jibber jabber, I moved him here so that we can lend our free attack action to either one of these groups. And I think we're ready for the orcs to go. I've also zoomed in good and tight so you can see our figures a little bit better. We can appreciate more of the action. I think we're rapidly coming to a close on our maneuver phase. These guys are still looking to go, and they have been largely immobile for a long time, so we're going to go ahead and take the high priority. These guys are going to go first. The giants will activate on a 5, and of course they're headed right for those light cavalry. Now we need to measure the distance there. Is it more than 3 inches? It is. So they're only going to be able to move up to about there. And that's not great for them, but hey, at least they're moving. And then we'll bring the trolls up. And on a 9, the trolls are going to be able to move 3 inches up to here. And we're getting to the point where we may be able to kind of induce these guys to make a mistake by charging a unit they'd rather not. With that done, we've got the 2 units of orcs. Who do we want to go with first? The leader's unit is only worth 4 points. He's more expendable. Remember that we're playing until we eliminate, well, once the game is over, we'll have to eliminate at least 4 units from both sides. And then there's a process by which we determine whether the game is over. Whoever eliminates the most points is the winner. So do we risk this guy in his special ability? Because remember, he's got free attack actions once they get close enough. And I'm asking that because I think we really need to move the wizard up first. And the wizard is going to move on a 6 up. That bellicose foot is going to be able to charge up to here. And then our leader is going to get a chance to go, and on a 9 he does. Which brings us to the Goblins' turn. Now, we do have 1 automatic attack action, but we have to check for wild charges first. None there, none there. Oh, look, these guys have wild charge. The lesser war beasts will wild charge. They'll attack on a total of 5 up. With a result of a 10, they will be able to charge. The nearest group is the Orcish King, so we'll move our dead tree out of the way and we'll bring them up. We have our first combat of the day. And in this case, our lesser war beasts will be attacking on 4s against an armor of 2. Bellicose foot are tough, but they're not very, they don't have a whole lot of staying power, do they? There's your last die right there. So hitting on 4s, we get a total of 1, 2, 3 hits. Oh, 4 hits altogether. So we'll knock over 4 guys. And then we're going to roll 12 dice for the counterattack. Now, these guys are only going to be hitting on 6s. And they need to get 3 of them. They got 1, 2, so they didn't do any damage to the lesser war beasts. Which means the orcs have to make a check at -3. They are looking to score. Their courage is 4. They're -4 for the wounds, +1 for the king. So they need to roll a 7-up. They fail, and the king is battered. I use red gemstones to mark that, and we're going to bring them back. Because the king is battered, nobody else is going to get to take advantage of that +1. Very good outcome for the goblins. Then I think we're going to go ahead and try to shoot with the light riders. They need a 6, and they fail. So that is the end of the goblin turn. Kicking over to the orcs turn, the leader here has to try to recover, and with a result of a 7, I believe he does. With a courage of 4, I think that's a failure. They're at -4. You do not get the leader's special abilities when his unit is battered. That said, I forgot that a retreat is half the normal distance, so rather than retreating 8 inches, he should have only retreated a total of 4, which would put this unit right about there. But still, not doing great, and there's a semantic difference here. When he's battered, you don't get any of his special rules. Is that +1 a special rule? Because the rules also say you get +1 for all courage tests. If that's the case, then maybe they did succeed. I don't know. Tell me in the comments how you guys play this. I'm inclined to give him the +1 for the courage test and just ignore that, and after having read it all, I just hope that I remember that every time from here on out, the leader always gets his +1 for courage. He just doesn't get to use the trait. I think that's the best way to do it. And then that being the case, he is going to use his trait to order these guys to attack the light horse. So the giants go wading in, but the light cavalry do have an opportunity to evade. And that's a little bit of a complicated one. You roll, and I want to look it up. I want to make sure I get this right. Because the light horse, if they evade, before it moves, so they have successfully diced to attack. They are going to move, the giants will move 3 inches. Before that happens, these guys get to roll, and on a 7-up, well, you know, they didn't get the 7-up, so they're just going to defend. I guess it didn't matter. Pretty simple when you fail, isn't it, guys? Since they failed, we're going to roll for the giants first. The giants are on the attack, and they are elite foot. They're going to be hitting on a 3-up against guys with an armor of 3. So every 3 hits will remove a figure. And on a 3-up, we get 1 hit, and that's not great for the giants. So we'll remove 1 light rider from the back. The light riders get to attack back, but they're not great on defense. Light riders on defense only hit on 6s, and because they're attacking giants, they need to get 4 6s. And they only get 3. So the light riders have to dice to see if they become battered. And with a 2 -1, they retreat 6 inches. But that's about it for them. So we'll pull in 6. Well, let's get him off the table so we remember. And, oh, it's half the distance, isn't it? So they're only going to fall back 3 inches like so. And where's my bloody battered token for them? Okay. Then we have to check for the... Let's bring these guys up next. On a 7, they will move up. They move on a 6, and they move 4 inches to there. And that's going to inspire some wild charges. So then we bring the trolls up, and on an 8, they will be able to move up there 3 inches. It's going to put them right there. Let me clean this up. We'll be right back. Our light riders need a 6 to recover. With a 7, they rally. Then we've got a bit of an option here. The heavy riders hate these orcs. They can automatically pass their wild charge. Let's go ahead and do that. They are within 5 inches as the crow flies, so we are going to have our first battle for these guys. And of course, even if they lose and are driven off, these guys will also be required to wild charge these orcs here. Regardless of whether they'd rather charge the elite foot, they're forced to charge the bellicose because of that hatred. 1 point purchase we have. The good news is they get... Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? I've got this backwards. The elite riders, we're going to do them first. Because the elite riders already have wild charge. Their wild charge becomes successful. I don't know that we want them to go first. we may want to do the... We may want to roll for these guys first, but be that as it may, we're going to go ahead and do it. If we can wipe out this wizard, that would be very helpful, I think. The elite riders are going to hit on 3 up against guys with an armor of 2. So every pair of 3s or better is going to be 1, 2, 3 hits altogether. So we'll knock down 3 of these bellicose foot. And then the bellicose foot will counterattack. Now they are not great on defense. They're only going to hit on 6s. And because they are attacking elite riders, they need to get 4 6s to do anything. They only got 1. So nothing doing there. We roll for our courage test, and with a result of a 9 minus 3, that's a 6. Bellicose foot have a courage of 4. They're going to be fine, but they do have to retreat 2 inches. Which means our heavy riders now don't have to... There's no line of sight. There's no ability to charge there. Oh, I'm sorry. I got that wrong, didn't I? They passed their courage check, which means these guys are going to have to fade back that 1.5 inches. Like so. And then, hey, stand up, trolls. There we go. So they've fallen back, and now we do have space for our heavy riders to try to charge in. And on an 8, they will make it. These guys didn't move. They were within 5 inches. I think I got things shuffled around a little bit. But there's our combat. So our heavy riders now are going to be hitting on a total of... They're going to be hitting on 4s. And again, they only need pairs to do wounds. So there's going to be 1, 2, 3, and that's it. So 3 more down. It's looking kind of ugly for the wizard there, isn't it? But they are still at half... Well, they were at half strength before those losses. So they are going to get to roll their 6 dice. And the heavy riders only have an armor of 3. So if we can get 1, 2, 3... Yeah, we're going to be able to do 1 hit to the heavy riders, which at least forces the heavy riders to make a courage check. Heavy riders have a courage of 4, and they are within 1 of the king, so the 5 becomes a 5. Now checking for the wizard, who is... Yeah, are they within 6 inches? Yeah, we'll give it to them. They are going to be at a total of -5 on this roll, and with a 4, they just boogie on out of here. A negative number, they're removed from the table. So that's our first unit removed. The Light Riders rally. The last unit we've got to go are these lesser war beasts who have only taken 1 damage. The king is hurting. Let's go after the king on attack order. You know, our king, I don't need to roll because our king has an automatic attack. They are within line of sight. They are within 6 inches, but I think we have to bring them into this elite foot. I think they still need to attack the nearest unit, particularly if that unit is only like 1.5 inches away. Lesser war beasts attacking elite foot, and that's actually better. No, we're not going to give the lesser war beasts the benefit of the cover. These guys were 1.5 inches away. There's 1.5 inches between, so it is going to be a combat out in the open. Oh, one thing we do need to do, though, is... What do you do here? You're supposed to give yourselves 1.5 inches after the combat. Let's bring these guys back 1.5 inches away as compulsory movement so that we've got our 1.5 inch spacing between our friendly units. The lesser war beasts now are attacking the elite foot. Lesser war beasts are hitting on the attack. They're going to be hitting on 4s, but the elite foot, man, you got to get 4 of them to do a single damage. So there's 1 hit. They actually managed to pull off 2 hits altogether, and that'll knock down 1 of the ogre brothers. The ogres, for their part, get to return, and because they are elite foot, they are going to be hitting on... What's their defense score? They're going to be hitting on 5s? Trolls on defense? No, they hit on 4s against an armor of 3. There's 1, 2... Total of 2 hits. So we'll remove 2 of these guys. So we're going to make 2 rally checks, or defense checks. The first one at -2, +1. This is going to be at -1 for those elite foot. And elite foot are going to have a courage of 3+. So this -1, 4 -1 is a 3. They succeed. The war beasts are going to be at -1. And with a 2 wounds, but they're within 6 inches of the leader. So this 3 becomes a 2, and the lesser war beasts have failed. They're going to have to withdraw 3 inches back into the woods. You guys are dead. So our lesser war beasts have had enough of getting squashed by the trolls. Move that troll out of there now, too. I think that's it for the orcs. We did a wild charge. We did our wild charge, and we did our rally, and we are all done. They failed, so they are battered, too. They're going to have to start next turn. But they've got a couple of wounds on the elite foot. I think that's a fair trade. I think we like that. The orcs now get to go, and the boss man says you get an automatic attack. So they're going to wade in. Let's check our evade. And on a 4, they fail, so the elite foot come crashing into the light riders. Elite foot are going to be hitting on 3s. These guys are devastating. 1, 2, and 3 hits. Armor 3 for the light riders. Man, that's big. They are down to half strength now. They do get to... I'm going to put them back there just so I don't forget. Then they are still at full strength for the purposes of this round. They need to roll 4 6s to do 1 wound to these guys. They don't get any. So then we roll for our morale check, and we're going to get a total of 7. Minus 4 is 3. They have a courage of 4, so they are going to retreat another 3 inches to here. And they are going to be battered as well. Then our trolls are going to wade into the elite riders. With a result of a 4, I don't think they are. That's an attack action. The trolls attack on a 5, so they are done. Which brings us back around to the goblin turn. We have to try a rally check here. That's a result of a 3 against a courage of 3, so they did rally. No, I'm sorry, that's against a courage of 4, so they're going to fall back. They're going to retreat again in this direction. They're going to lose another strength point. Oh, they're almost out of the game. And then our lesser war beasts. Now, they will get the benefit of the +1 for the leader. I don't think this should do them much good. This is a total of 3. War beasts have a courage of 4. They're going to lose a strength point, and they are going to fall back 3 inches as well to here. Those elite foot are dangerous, brother. All right, so we do have 1 automatic attack action, but these guys are out of position. So our elite riders have wild charge. They have to go in there. And on a 10, they're going to do it. So our elite riders will wheel around and attack these elite foot. They're going to roll 10, all 12 dice. They're going to be hitting on 3s. They have to do 4 hits to do a single wound. Looking for 3s or better. There's 1 wound, and that's going to be it. But this unit is now down to half strength. At least they will be on the next turn. Let's see what the elite foot can do in response. Oh, that chip is a little slippery, isn't it? The elite foot are going to be hitting on defense on 4s. And they're hitting elite riders, so they need 4s or better. So 4s, looking for 4 of them. We're going to get a total of 1 wound. And I think that's it, because they got 7 hits altogether. So 1 guy goes down. Our leader needs to make a courage check that's neutral. And on a 3, they get it. Elite riders have a morale of 3. That is +1 for the leader, -1 for the wound. And then these elite foot are going to be at a total of -2. They've got 3 wounds, but they are near the boss man. So at a -2, 2 -2 means they are going to be battered. And they will fall back 1.5 inches to here. Now, the worst... Oh, and then the last thing we can do, these guys are out of attack range, but they can still move if they roll a 5 or better, which is 5 or better, so they're not. That's the end of the orc turn. The trolls have to start the festivities by trying to rally, and with a 9, -3, +1, they're going to be fine. So they're no longer battered. But That's all they're going to be able to do for this turn. Then we'll bring these Elite Foot around. Elite Foot activate on a... Oh, they move on a 5, don't they? To the end of the Orcish turn, we have to do our rally check here. This is going to be a -5. So 10 minus 5 is a 5. Light Riders have a courage of 5, so he is not battered at least. And then our Lesser War Beasts, now this is going to be at -2. They get a total of 5. War Beasts have a courage of 4, so they're back into the action. Then we have a wild charge that we have to do for our leader. And with a result of a 3, he is not going to do it. But the turn is not over because these heavy riders have an option to move. The wild charges do not end your turn. So we'll bring them up along the side here. And look at that. We have no combat on this turn. The leader here is going to order these guys into combat. Remember, he gets a free attack action. Last time they didn't do it because they were rallying, but this turn they can attack. Now, they are at half strength, so they're only going to get to roll 6 dice, and they need 4 hits. But because they're Elite Foot, they're going to be hitting on 3s. So they get a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, so they did manage to do another casualty. But against that, the Elite Riders, they're not great on defense, are they? Elite Riders on defense, they're going to be hitting on 5s. They get 12 dice. They're going to get 1, 2, 3 hits, so they do no wounds on the defense. That's what happens when your cavalry just stands around. The cavalry makes their rally check, or their morale check, and with an 11, I think we understand they're going to be just fine. Now, because these guys moved in and nobody moved back, they have to drift back the 1.5 inches, which means we are now on to trying to move these Elite Foot up on an 11. They're going to be able to move 3 inches. And that'll be nice because it's going to draw a wild charge from these guys. I think we want to try to eliminate one of these units for the Orcs. And then the final thing is, do we want to bring these... Let's bring these Bellicose Foot up to... Do Bellicose Foot have wild charge? They might have to charge. They're within 4 inches. Bellicose Foot... They're very bellicose. Yeah, they have wild charge. Oh, I should have done that before these guys moved. On a 6, they will. These guys have a total of 2, 4, 6, 8 guys. So they will be attacking at full strength. Bellicose Foot hitting on 3s this time. That's where you want Bellicose Foot coming in. And what a big roll that is. Against those Elite Riders, they're going to get 1 hit for these. They're going to get a 2nd hit here, and then they just missed the 3rd one. So that king is now down to half strength. But for this turn, he does get to roll his full 12 dice. And Elite Riders on defense hitting on 5s. Every pair nets them a wound. Every pair of 5s. That's a lot of 1s and 2s. They get a total of 1. That's not a hit. They get a total of 2 against that unit. So that unit is now down to half strength as well. Did I miss any? 5, 5. Nope, that's it. Okay, so we got a leader check here at a total of -5. 6 for the wounds, plus 1 for the leader. 5 minus 5 is 0. That leader just is gone, man. That is a terrible roll for them. Now this leader is going to be at a total of, they've taken 4, so this is -3. And 3 minus 3 means we are now leaderless. Holy cats, look at that. And then we already moved these guys. These guys already attacked. So we are down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units left on the board. We are definitely going to play another turn after this one. It is the Goblins' turn, and we have 2 wild charges. We're going to resolve this one first. They don't hate trolls. They only hate orcs. So they have to check. They will move up to attack. And these are heavy riders attacking Elite Foot. The heavy riders will be hitting on 4s. And we need 4 of them. So that'll be 1 hit for those. And 2 hits for that one. So that will eliminate this guy. And I'll knock him down just to show how many hits we've got. They are only at half strength. So the Elite Foot are going to counterattack. And on the defense, Elite Foot are only hitting on 6s. They didn't get any. So the only ones that have to make a check is this fella here, who is down to 1 hit point. 5, a 6, minus 5 is a 1. He's going to fall back an inch and a half, and he is going to be battered. So bring him back to here, drop a battered down, and then we have one more wild charge for the Lesser War Beasts. On a 4, Lesser War Beasts attack on a 5-up. That's the end of the turn for the Goblins. Checking the Elite Foot. That one guy there is going to roll a 3. That becomes negative, so that Elite Foot is now wiped from the board. It's still the Orc's turn. These guys are... they are not close enough to attack anyone. So the Elite Foot is going to be on a move action at 5 up. Let's go ahead and move up to here. Well, to the inch and a half. We'll kind of swing around because we want these guys to wild charge us, which will be the next... Are they within 5 inches here? They're not, because that's the other thing they want to make sure they do is stay away from the woods, cut these guys off. Now we have a wild charge there. That's going to be successful. They are at half strength. These Lesser War Beasts will race in. Boom. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, you know what we need to do? On a 5 or 6, how does this work? This is where we need to look at the rules. If the score is higher than the number of units left in the game, this is the last turn. We have 4 units. This is a 3. This is not the last turn. It's phrased a little bit awkward, isn't it? So what we have here is a wild charge at half strength. Hitting on Lesser War Beast attack on a 4-up. So they are going to get a single hit against those giants. Remember, our giants have 3 hit points apiece, so there's 1 hit there. Then the giants are going to attack back, and that Elite Foot is at full strength. So Elite Foot on the defense, they are going to be hitting on 4-up. And that's going to be a total of, against an armor of 3, they're going to get 1 wound, so it's 1 and 1. The goblins are at minus 4. They roll a 2, so they will fall back. They will retreat 3 inches and be battered. These guys are going to roll at minus 1, and they're going to be just fine. Give me a battered marker here. All right, then we don't have any more wild charges, but we do have a shoot action right here. And on an 8, we'll get it. They're going to shoot on a 5-up. Now, at half strength, we got to roll, oh boy, we got to roll 6 dice. 4 of these have to come up 5s. We only got 2 of them. Okay. Hey, it was worth a shot anyway, right? And then we've got these heavy riders who are going to try to move closer to these Elite Foot, or to the giants, and that's really the closest they can get to that inch and a half. Now, the giants stand alone, but they get to choose who they want to attack, and they're going to attack this guy first. On a 3, they're not. They're just going to stand there sucking wind, which opens the door for the goblins to recover here. 4 minus 4 means they're gone. Oh, I forgot. Is this the last turn? It is not, because we had 4 units. Now we can roll for the... So that's the rally check failed. Then we roll for the wild charge, which succeeds. So we'll just bring them up, and we're going to have 12 dice for heavy riders hitting on 4-ups against an armor of 4. For every 4 4s, we'll knock 1 down. We got a total of 4 4s, so that will be a 2nd wound against this Elite Foot. And then we will roll for the Elite Foot. On the defense, they're going to be hitting on 4s. And they get a total of 1. Against an armor of 3, they get a total of 1 hit on the Heavy Riders. So we'll pull him back. The Heavy Riders are going to make a morale check at minus 2, and 8 is successful. The Elite Foot are at minus 2, and they get a 3. Elite Foot have a courage of 3. They're going to be fine. The Heavy Riders have to fade back that inch and a half. And then we have a bow shot from these guys, which will be successful, rolling 6 dice. And we got to roll a total of 4 5s on this in order to do any damage. We only get 2 again, and it is the Elite Foot's turn. We're going to wade in, and we're going to try to knock these guys down to half power. A 10 will do it. I'm just going to put these back here. And everybody's rolling 12 dice, but now the Elite Foot are hitting on 3s. Let me just re-roll that one. That was a hit. That's going to be 1, 2 casualties on the Heavy Riders. So 1, 2, and they are now at half strength. The Heavy Riders on the defense are only going to be hitting on 5s. At least they get to roll 12 of them. They only get 1, so nothing doing. The Elite Foot do not have to check for morale, but our Heavy Riders do, and they pass with flying colors. However, I guess these guys have to fall back the 1.5 inches. Okay, now that's the end of the turn, so let's see. 2, we are going to, I guess it's going to be a fight to the very bitter end, isn't it? The Goblins get to go first. We have to do the Wild Charge. That's obligatory. A 7 will be successful, which means it's going to be 6 dice for the Heavy Riders, hitting on 4s. Nothing. And then it's full dice for the Elite Foot. They are on the defense. They're hitting on 4s as well. They're going to get 1, 2 kills, and that's going to wipe these guys out. Then we have our shooters are going to roll and try to get those 4 hits. They only get 1, so that's the end of the turn. Then these guys get a chance to go. An attack action on an 8. They will ride over and roll all 12 dice. See if they can wipe them out. And I think this is the end. I think the Orcs are barely going to pull this one out because they will kill this guy. And we're looking for 4 6s. If we get 4 6s, we'll knock them down to half power, but it doesn't make any difference because the Giants stand alone here on the the plains, the Bloodbath of Doom. What is it? Bloodbath on the gory plains of Doom? Well, this was a pretty gory one. We wiped everybody out. The Orcs obviously win because they have 6 points left on the board, and the Goblins have 0 points. These Elite Foot going one-on-one against the Riders made all the difference in the world. Those Riders were just not able to pull off an evasion move. I think if they had pulled off an evasion when they were full strength, they might have been able to whittle these guys down enough to pull it off. Not taking better advantage of the terrain for the War Beasts, also not helpful, but they got tied up by all the hatred that forced the Goblins to come in, I think, before they really wanted to. Hey, that's the end of the game. I think this was a lot more interesting. It really came down to the wire, and man, games are so much fun when you play them, right? Aren't they? When you, follow the rules and just play the darn game already. This is good practice. We're going to have to try to do that a little bit more in the future. Until the future, I'm praying for you.